Hey everyone, this is Teresa from Base 10 Montessori, and today we are going to do our next lesson in our Group 4 Math series, and it's going to be about the multiplication board. So when we introduce this board to our student, they're already familiar with the operation of multiplication. We've given the definition for it in the collective exercises. We've gone over the language of multiplication in the stamp game, and of course we've done that concrete experience of multiplication with the decanomial box of beads. So for this lesson, you'll need your multiplication board, which should come with all of the contents. And then you're going to need a booklet. You can make your own booklet or you can order one from Print Shop. It's very easy. And you'll also need the multiplication chart for them to check their work when they're done. Now, usually on Montessori Print Shop, they sell the multiplication chart, the finger charts, and all of that together as a package. So you get the whole thing for one price. And usually it's maybe for the whole thing, I think around $5. I'm not sure, but I'll also try to post that in the comment section down below. So that's an overview of all the materials we're going to be working with today. Let's quickly touch on the theory and then we'll jump into the lesson. Now, of course, the purpose of this lesson is to explore multiplication, right? We're in Group 4 Math, which is the exploration and memorization of math facts. That's the goal, is to start memorizing our math facts right here. And we already have our control of error, and that's this chart right here. There's also a second chart that they can use, multiplication chart 2. And as you can see, this is going to demonstrate the commutative law just like we did in addition. So we have two charts that they can check their work with. With all of our Montessori materials, the first thing we do is we orient our students to the material that we're working with. So today we're going to let them know that the numbers at the top, 1 through 10, those are our multipliers. And we're going to let them know that the card right here that's going to go in this slot is to demonstrate the multiplican. And we're going to show them how to insert that number into the little slot right here. We're going to have a series of numbers that we can change depending on which multiplication table we're going through. So we can change that out. And notice that the 9 and the 6 will look different. So you're going to be able to tell which one is a 9 and which one is a 6. If you try to put the 9 in like a 6, it's not going to show up right in that little window. So you will be able to tell the difference between the 6 and the 9 with this work. So that should make it just a little bit easier. For this experience, I would highly recommend using Montessori Print Shop. They have very affordable booklets that you can download. And once we give them a demonstration of how to use this board, they can go ahead and work their way through this booklet. But I like to give a demonstration on a number somewhere between 1 and 9 because 9's quite a bit to go through. And 1 is just a little too simple. So I like to demonstrate something in between that's just a little bit easier than starting off with 9 and working our way back, or starting very simply with 1 and moving forward. If you haven't done any of the stamp game, if you haven't introduced the language of multiplication, this would be a good time to start. So we have our multipliers at the top. And then right here we have our multiplican. The disc right here is going to show us which multiplier we're working with. And then these red beads right here, they're going to show us what the product is, or the answer. So we're going to orient our students to the board by explaining all the parts of multiplication and how the board works. And then we're going to write down our first equation. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to say, all right, our multiplican is 6, our multiplier is 1. So that means we need to pick out 6 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we have 6 one time. So let me show you what that looks like. So 6 one time is 6. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the answer, or the product, is 6. And that's what we're going to write right there. Now we're going to move on to 2. We've already done 6 once. What happens if we do 6 a second time? Let's write that down. 6 times 2 equals. So we're going to have to count out another set of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can tell our student that we're just going to keep building on. We've done 6 once. Now let's do 6 2 times. So in order to find the answer or the product, we just have to count all of our beads. We know we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So our answer is 12. And of course, we can go on and do this 3 times. So we're going to have our multiplicand right here. We're going to have our multiplier right here. Our disk is going to show our multiplier. We're going to count out how many times we're going to multiply. And then the answer is whatever red beads we have on the board. And so we're going to keep going until we've done the full table of 6 all the way up to 10. We're going to keep going up to 10. And of course, you can do the math booklets from Montessori Print Shop. You can make your own. You can also just do individual equations. I think it's good to do the tables because remember, we're doing exploration and memorization of math facts. So we want them to go through all the tables and we want them to check their work with those multiplication charts. So once we've finished our table of 6, we're going to go through, do the entire table of 6, and then we're going to have them check their work. We're going to show them how to check their work here. And then once that becomes very easy, we might show them how to do the second chart. So we're going to see that 6 times 6 is where this table starts. However, because we have that law, the commutative law, it doesn't matter which order that we go in. So 6 times 5 would be 5 times 6. So we're going to show them how to use this second chart. Our multiplicand and our multiplier, they can switch and it's not going to affect the results of the equation. The answer will stay the same. And they might notice something as they go along, like when they get to 6 times 6, what shape are they going to make? It's going to be a perfect square, isn't it? We're not going to point this out, but we do want to give that impression of squaring. And once we've given this demonstration, we can go ahead and introduce them to the booklet, show them all the multiplication tables they can go through. And then after this, we're going to do the multiplication finger charts. So the next video will be on all the different finger charts that we do for multiplication. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. That's the entire lesson on the multiplication board. But as always, you can be as creative as you need to be with this material. As long as you are honoring the purpose of this material and you're being respectful with the material, you can really use this to expand on lessons in any way you need for your student in your classroom. That's the most important thing in Montessori, is to understand the purpose of what you're doing and to be respectful with the materials. As long as you do those 2 things, you're free to use the material as you need in your environment. So hopefully you've liked this lesson. If you have, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.